Good morning, it's Deb here again with day 4 of the massive May birthday bonanza, and I'm going to be joined very shortly by Julie Hunt of FacetoFace Finance, and Julie's going to be talking to us about retaining our wealth once we've got it. Hi Julie, I can see that you've just joined me here. I'm going to invite you to go live with me right now. Bear with me. And just to give our viewers, our watchers this morning, just saying that you're going to be talking to us about retaining our finance in the future. Julie, I'm getting a bit of feedback.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, do you have headphones perhaps you could pop in or not?
Probably not, no. Is that better?
I think so. Let's have a look. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
no, I've got them coming back to me again. We're having a week of technical problems, but hey, that's okay. That's all right. We'll manage. We'll absolutely manage. Thank you for joining me this morning. I'm really excited to have you on here. And I know you've got lots of really good information to share with us. However, before we get into that, I really would like you to share with the group what is unique about your working culture. And we've known each other for years, and it's something that I know you have done right from the very early days of your business. So it's not new to you, but I think it's a unique way of working for many other people. And I'm going to add on to that to say you have an incredible culture in your business of taking on young people and bringing them all the way through various programs that you set up to give them the qualifications they need to be able to further and advance their career. And I know you have a very loyal staff, so what you're doing is absolutely right. But the one unique thing you do, and I know you've been on national radio with this, it always makes me smile. Please share with us what it is that you do.
So all our staff wear slippers to work, so which is it is a little bit unique, and I have been on radio regarding it. And I mean, there is some research done that when you actually wear slippers to work, it gives you're actually more productive. It's a more relaxed environment, and certainly as us women, imagine how you feel at the end of the day wearing a pair of high heels all day and your feet are killing you. How are you productive in that time? So it's just something we've always done. Haven't really ever thought about the fact of it being really different until obviously. Well, it just obviously is different, but it's something we've always thought was a really positive thing to do, and it's obviously people like it, and we've always done it. We even have clients who come in now actually with their slippers to put them on as they come in the door, which is quite nice as well. So, but yeah, as well. So we wear our.
Right now, many of us are getting used to working in our slippers actually at home. I'm more of a flip-flops person than slippers person, but you know, I don't wear flip-flops when I'm out and about, other than at the absolute height of summer when you can get away with it. But certainly for the most part, like I'm somebody that wears heels a lot of the time, and I'm finding being at home in my slippers, it's wonderful, or in my flip-flops, it's absolutely wonderful. And I just think that's just a great way to set the culture, set the ethos. You know, we want you to be in work, we want you to be comfortable. You know, I think that's great. But anyway, without further ado, tell us a little bit more about what it is you do, because you're, you know, independent financial planning company or financial advisors, but you do so much more than that, don't you? What does that entail?
Yeah, so we are, as Debbie said, we're independent financial advisors. So we've been going for 17 years in Norfolk, in case my Norfolk accent doesn't come through there. And basically, we like to think we're a little bit different. We think that our client always comes first, which I'm sure most independent financial advisors would say. But what we like to think is that when you think of IFA, what do you think of? You think of like a bunch of boring old men in suits. And we like to think that we're not that. We're a little bit different to that. Our company colours are red, which I think makes a real difference from the old drab blues and greens that you'd expect. Obviously the slipper thing, which is really like different, and the consultants wear slippers too. It's not just the admin team, it is everybody wears slippers. And but we kind of get our consultants involved. We do lots of outside things as well. We support a lot of local charities, and we kind of get the team to get involved with the things that we do and our clients as well. We have a director of happiness called Eddie Teddy, who's a teddy bear. He's not with me today, but he's really good for promoting educational things for children. So last year he brought out his first book, which I will quickly flash, which was all about raising awareness of saving money early on, because I think with schools now, they've got so much other things on their hands. It's kind of like teaching them about children about money. It's really important to get that message out there, because when we do go into work and we start either working for ourselves or working for other people, if we're not saving money, we're going to hit a wall. So we need to have a generation of people coming out of school who know about saving and about having goals and things in the future. So he's currently writing his next book at the moment in lockdown, because obviously he's also in lockdown at the moment. So which is really interesting. As Debbie said, we encourage all our staff to work towards their qualifications, which we're really, really proud of, and we have got a really good team behind us. So I think that's what makes us a little bit different from being IFAs from other IFA firms. So one of the things I think that's really important as us is we don't, when you think IFAs, you're like someone's going to sell you a pension or someone's going to sell you an investment. And I think what's really important is it's not about that anymore. The financial services industry is more about helping clients work towards their goals. And, you know, how we do that is by sitting down with people, looking at what their goals are. People set up companies, and earlier this week people have talked about, you know, how to make money, how to work towards it, having the right mindset. But when you've actually got that money, what are you going to do with it? Are we going to blow it all on a holiday? Are you going to go and buy the best car? You know, it's great you've got the Lamborghini in the car park, but if you've got nothing planned for the future, how is that going to look? So many people basically set up a company and their retirement plan is, I'm going to sell my business. But has your business got a value at the end of it? Have you thought that through? How is that going to look? Who's going to want to buy your business? Now, if you're a business where you've got like an actual physical product and you've got it patented and trademarked, then yes, you probably could sell it on. But if it's like yourself as a coach or something along those lines, you've got a client base, it's only going to be worth a certain amount of money. And also, how's that handover going to work? How are you going to value that? And I think that's really, really important for people to really think. So a lot of our time we spend sitting talking to clients going, what does your retirement plan actually look like? There's also a really big misconception that, oh, I've got a pension, it's all going to be fine. And again, if your pension's worth jack, your retirement pot is going to be worth the same. So it's looking about how that's actually going to work for you and planning that. So I think that's really, really important, of having your goals, putting the planning in place. And even if you can't afford at the moment to put in the money that you need to get to that goal, at least you know what you're aiming for to get towards that. It's not just I'm going to work and it's all going to be fine. You need to have a plan in place. And I think that's just so important.
That's really interesting, and it makes me think about, you know, over the course of this week, I've let you know about my bankruptcy a significant number of years ago now. And the one thing that really surprised me, you know, up until that stage, I had a pension. I didn't really pay much attention to it, but I knew money was coming out of my salary, going into a pension pot somewhere, and I kind of just let it do its own thing. I didn't really focus on it until when I went through bankruptcy at the age of 40, and my pension was seized as an asset that could be used towards debts. So there I was at the age of 40, having to start all over again. And actually, I couldn't start straight away because the bankruptcy had to be repaid. I had to become a discharged bankrupt before I could actually start having savings, before I could look at my financial future. And that was a massive shock to somebody who'd really sort of sat back, not paid much attention. And I think so many of us do when we're that much younger. You think, oh, that's years and years away, we'll take care of it. So to hear you having a vehicle through Eddie Teddy and his books that you can encourage children to start saving and start instilling the importance of future planning to them is fantastic. And as you say, you know, relying on a pension, it's not always guaranteed. As my own story says, you know, I thought, oh, I've got a nice enough pension, I'll add to it as I get older. I didn't for an instant ever think I was going to have to start it again 20 years down the line. And that's exactly what I've had to do. And that comes as a massive shock. So how do you help people? Is there a best age for them? Or how do you help people to look after their wealth at a later stage in life, where maybe, you know, they have left it a bit too late, or they've had an unfortunate incident like I had, where they have to start again? And it's about, I suppose, maximizing what they've got and looking after what they've got. Are there ways that they can help themselves towards that future?
Bankruptcy isn't also the only reason. It could be something like divorce. So something that you don't even see coming. I mean, with bankruptcy, you might be thinking, I'm in trouble financially. It's a worry. But imagine suddenly turning around and your husband's basically having an affair with the secretary and he leaves you, but you've done really, really well in your business. You've been a success. And suddenly your husband goes, I want half your pension. That's something that can happen very, very easily as well. So it is things to really come to think about as well. I think there isn't a too young age to start planning for your pension. I mean, the government's auto enrolment schemes, the age is age 22. But with my staff, even the ones who are younger than that, I always encourage them to start putting into their pension as soon as basically they've been with us 3 months and like start paying in now. Because the younger you start, the more time you get in the market. So the more growth you get. And paying in regularly obviously takes the benefits of pound cost averaging, which is basically paying in regularly. So you get the benefit of the markets when it drops. You're buying low, but you'll get it through. And looking at the statistics and the figures over the years, the longer you pay in, it doesn't matter what the market does, invariably your money will go up. So the longer you give yourself to do that, the better, which is things. So I think, a lot of people leave it too late. A lot of people, we get clients come to us at 50. They go, oh, I've had some pensions, I've been paying in, I've had about 7 or 8 jobs over the years. Thinking about retirement, what do I do? And you've got all these pension pots that they haven't really thought about, that are sitting frozen. And it's like, if we can put all those together, look and see what that's actually going to mean, and then be able to say to them, this is like where you need to go from here. But really, that's too late. There isn't really a too early start. So, even at 30, it's definitely worth, probably even earlier than that. If you're paying into a pension, it's worth making sure you know what you're doing with it. And if you're moving around jobs, especially now with auto enrolment, people are collecting little pots of money. So back in the day, before pensions freedom in 2006, you have to do 2 years of a company before your pension would have a value when you left. Otherwise, it would be paid back to you as a lump sum, which was a great way of saving if you weren't going to be with the company for more than 2 years. But the company would get their bit back and you would get your bit back. Whereas now, that is a pot. It doesn't matter if you only put 1 month's work in, that's a pension pot. So it's probably worth, as you go along, making sure that you know where they are, consolidating those into your new company pension scheme and making sure it's always in the same place. You don't want to be losing out money. At the end of the day, your pension is the one time the employer gives you something for free. So don't turn it down. People who opt out, don't ever opt out, because you're missing out on, in effect, free money. You've earned that. Take it.
That's really worth knowing. Thank you. And is there anything else we can do to plan for our future to make sure that we're maximising what we've got, or is our pensions just the only vehicle?
No, not just pensions at all. I mean, there's ISAs as well. I mean, there's lots of ways you can save for your future. I mean, pensions obviously are predominantly your main goal and the main product for retirement. But there's other ISAs. There's, even if this is a savings account in your building society or bank account, it's still savings, and that's money you've got towards your future. So it could be towards buying a house. It could be we're planning for like an amazing holiday on your 40th or your 50th birthday. You're not going to have that if you haven't saved the money for it. So it's, that's, any saving is going to be a positive thing. And it doesn't matter where you put it, wherever it is into your pension, where you'll get tax relief, but then you can't access it until 55 or 57, as it will become in a few years' time. But your ISA, you've got more immediate access to that. You've got savings accounts. You've got, I mean, to be fair, at the moment, the bank account balances, the interest is just non-existent, to be perfectly honest. So as long as you've got a bit of an appetite for risk, going into the stocks and shares is probably a better option. But I would advise taking some advice on that and looking at what your attitude to risk is. That's really, really important, and not just your attitude to risk, your capacity for loss. Because when you invest in the stock market, it goes up and down. And if you've got money that you're like, I've got this money, I need it to pay my tax bill in 6 months' time, the stock market is not the right place to put it. But say I've got this extra money coming in every month. I don't really, I can survive without it. It'd be nice to put it away somewhere. Don't mind if it drops a bit, then it's more that option. But it's really important to make sure you take advice and don't just stick it in, and, to make sure you're doing the right thing for you really. That's really, really important.
Okay, that's really good. I'm taking lots and lots of notes here, because obviously, as I've said, I want to be able to sort of sum up at the end of the week anyway on everybody's. So it's really, interesting to hear different viewpoints on all of these. And I know we had a brief conversation and you mentioned cash flow modeling. Can you explain what that is to the listeners, please?
Basically, it's a piece of, there's several different model tools out there, but it's a piece of software. And what we do is we'll put in all your information. So it'll be what your salary is, what your income is, any other income you've got. So you've got a rental property, what your pensions are, what your savings are, what's your bank account. And then what we can do is we can plan the future. So you might say, in 4 years' time, I'm going to get married and I'd like some savings for that. So we can add that in and look to see how you're going to work towards that. You can say, I want to retire at 55. We can put that in and we can look to see where you are in that journey. Are you going to run out of money at that point? You know, do you need to be putting an extra £100 a month into your pension? So it's a really good way of looking at where you are in your life at the moment, what bits you want to plan into your life, and also how that can look. And then what we do with our clients is we review them on an annual basis with their annual reviews. So we'll be like, right, a year ago you said you wanted to retire at 55. We said you're a little bit short. You put some more money in your pension. And now, look, it's looking really, really good. You might say, actually, I've had a think about that. I'd like to retire at 55, but I think I might want to do a couple of days part-time. I don't want to give it up completely, so my income might halve. So then we can then put that in. So it's basically planning out your life and looking at how you can afford to do the things that you want to be able to do. It's a really, really good tool, and you know, it's quite simple. There's a lot of information in there, but it's quite simple to look at and quite visual. You see a graph and it'll go, oh, when it goes red, it means you've run out. So it's quite a good way of looking at it.
I guess, as they say, a picture paints 1,000 words, doesn't it? And, you know, I don't know about, well, I'm sure you're not like this, but for me, I sort of see lots of numbers on a screen in a spreadsheet. And whilst I know they mean something, the initial looks like, oh my God, there's too many numbers there. I can't take all this in. Whereas present it to me in a graph, okay, now that makes sense. And then I can go back, look at the figures and understand the correlation between the picture and the numbers. And I think a lot of people get intimidated by the numbers, don't they, initially?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, we've spent a lot of time, certainly over the last few years, to try and make our paperwork a lot more visual rather than paper. I mean, some people love spreadsheets, don't get me wrong. You get the odd person who just like, my brother's an accountant, he gets excited about spreadsheets in an unhealthy like way. And I'm like, okay, that's probably too much. But the majority of people like to have a visual. You like to have like a pie chart, you know, nothing better than a donut. You're like, oh, look at that. I can see what that means. And, you know, it's great to be able to look at it and go, right, that makes sense to me. I can see that at that point at 64, I want to retire at 65, but I'm only going to have enough pension to survive to 75. Or my mortality rate means I'm going to live to be 94. That means I've got a 20-year gap. You know, it's quite simple to see. And you can then see from that, it's a really good talking point of how do you achieve that? You know, do you really want to retire at 55? Let's look at 60. How does that look instead? Actually, you can afford that. Oh, that's better. You know, it kind of makes it a talking point. You've got this goal. How realistic is that goal for you? And how can we help you achieve it? Or how can we compromise with your current situation to get you towards where you want to be, but maybe slightly later? It's a bit of a work of art, really. So.
Okay, that's, you know, it's all really, really interesting stuff. And, you know, I'm coming from a place, I know quite a bit about what you do. So I'm trying to ask the questions that maybe those that don't know what you do would ask. So, you know, you're talking about getting lots and lots of information out of people to be able to help them in the same sort of way I do as a coach. You know, I want to find out what the issue is with people's relationships, what's going on behind the scenes almost for them, so that I can help them in the best way possible. So how long would you spend with a client on first meeting, for example, sort of getting to know them, getting this information? Is it sort of a case of, well, we have a tick sheet and we just ask these questions, or how does that work?
We have what we call a fact find, which is where we go through all the information. So we normally say the first meeting is approximately about an hour long. Because also people get bored. If you suddenly say, I'm going to be with you 4 hours, you'll be like, oh my God, I just can't, it's just too much. You know, it's better to do small bits and, you know, at a time. And a lot of it's, as it grows over the year, the relationship builds and grows. So you get to know your clients with over that period of time. So the first meeting, normally an hour, we go through the fact find. It's more of a chat. It's trying to get, what do you want to achieve? Yes, we need those, what we call hard facts, which is like the bits that, you know, what are you earning? How much is your house worth? But we also need the, what do you want to achieve? When do you want to retire? What's your lifestyle like? You know, do you want to have lots of holidays in retirement? Do you want to keep working in your business? How, you know, what is your plan? You know, is it something, is your business, because a lot of our clients are small business owners, it's like, is your goal to sell your business? Is your goal to have a succession plan in place? Is there somebody there to take over your company moving forward? And how do you see that working? Are you going to retire and then consult? It really depends. Every client is different. They all have different needs. And it is a case of just sitting down and chatting with them and trying to grasp what they want, and then looking at the best solution for them and working forward. And it changes as well. So you might go, I want to sell my company, or I want to leave it to my children. And then 5 years later, you say, actually, no, my son decides that he has no interest in whatever it is that you do. I'm going to do this instead. So your plan can change, which is why regular reviews are so important, to really, you know, work on that thing. Because if you said to me today, if you'd have said to me a year ago, you're going to be locked up for 2 months, Julie, would we have believed that? No, of course not. I'd have been on holiday somewhere. But no, it's a case of we're in this situation and everyone's life is different. We might have a plan in action, but it will change, and we need to adapt and change with their plan.
That's really useful advice, and that's really nice to know, because you know everybody is different and everybody does have different wants, needs, desires and outcomes, etc. So I've been asking everybody this week so far for one piece of advice or one tip. So I'm going to ask you the same thing. What one tip or one bit of advice, and I'm using advice in inverted commas because I know you're not allowed to give advice unless you're in a direct conversation with somebody, but what one tip do you give listeners now to make sure they are doing the absolute best they can do to look after what wealth, or you know, ISAs, pensions, whatever it is, what they've got? What would be the one bit of advice or one tip you are giving people right now, even if they don't have very much?
Yeah, make sure you know what you've got, document it down, make a list, know what you have, know what it is. And if you're not sure, go and get professional advice. You know, it's
so if people do want that professional advice, where do they come? Where can they get hold of you, Julie?
So basically my company is called FacetoFace Finance. So we're on Facebook, called FacetoFace Finance. If you look me up, I think I'm friends with Debbie, so I'm Julie Hunt. And I'm also on LinkedIn, again under Julie Hunt, and we're also on Instagram. So if you like pictures of staff doing farmyard yoga in lockdown, that's where you'll find us.
I love your Instagram feed. It is probably the most exciting financial advisor feed I've ever seen. It certainly isn't boring. It defines you as a company. I mean, because I know you and your husband who have the company, and I know some of the team. You know, I love your Instagram feed. I also follow Eddie Teddy because I think he's marvelous. And what I also love is that you really practice what you preach. And I know you plan well ahead for holidays, and you have some fantastic holidays every year, which you also put on Instagram. Your most recent one, you have a fantastic photo of a penguin was it Antarctica?
It was in Antarctica, yes, it was, yeah.
So,
yeah.
you know, this is a prime example of you practicing what you're preaching, looking at holidays, and I know you plan your holidays a number of years in advance, and then working towards them, using the tools that you've just described to us to enable you to achieve those goals. And I think it's fantastic. And just one other little bit of interest for our listeners, because this is a really interesting fact about you as well, and I know you've done this for a number of years. You're the chairman of a society, aren't you?
A charity.
A charity? Oh, it's a charity, yes.
We're a charity, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm the St Kilda Club, which is, we're basically, we run the shop on a remote island off the Outer Hebrides called St Kilda. St Kilda is the United Kingdom's only dual UNESCO World Heritage Site. So it's a beautiful place. It was evacuated in 1930, so we're actually celebrating our 90th anniversary, well, I say celebrating, commemorating our 90th anniversary of the evacuation this year, which is quite special. It's one of those places where you've been, it's just fantastic. So, and I'm very lucky to be the chairman of a charity, and I'm very, very lucky to have been able to go up onto the island, and hopefully, touch wood, lockdown thing, I should be out there for 3 weeks later this year, and volunteering in the shop and on the island. So I'm hoping that will happen, but obviously we'll wait and see what happens. But it is a charity that's close to my heart. We do, basically our work is to raise awareness of the island and also to support the National Trust for Scotland, who own the island, to do the conservation work that they do. So we help fund like the seabird ranger post, which is really interesting and really important role, especially with the seabird numbers falling due to climate change. So it's quite it's a really interesting role, and it's quite diverse as well, what we cover and what we deal with. So it's really interesting.
Fantastic. So again, if people want to contact you for financial advice, it's FacetoFace Finance, and they can find you on Facebook and on Instagram and LinkedIn as Julie Hunt on LinkedIn. You're also obviously Julie Hunt on Facebook. And if they're interested in finding out more about St Kilda, does the St Kilda Club have a Facebook page as well?
Page which is basically at St Kilda Club. So yeah, so which page, so, and it's actually doing very, very well. We have really high engagement levels because of the images. Unfortunately, the National Trust for Scotland aren't on the island at the moment because of a lockdown, so it's we're having a few historical moments on the page at the moment. But yes, there was a rather interesting picture from 2002 from my first work party the other day. So
fantastic. Thank you, Julie. I've really appreciated your time this morning. You've given us lots of interesting and helpful advice on finance, and a little bit more around your work culture and slippers, and a little bit of interest about St Kilda, and sort of what else makes you you as well. Really appreciate you coming on as an expert for me today, and I'll speak to you soon. Thanks, Julie.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, thanks. Bye.